He closed his eyes, expecting to see the morning sun, but the internal fire went out in the dark. A silent thief entered his vessel while he was most vulnerable. Most people ignore the subtle signs of stagnation until the heart simply stops. 99% miss the last part, and if you do, you are gambling with the only life you have. If you stop now, you invite the shadow to settle in your chest. Silent stagnation. You see, my friends, we often treat sleep as if it were a simple off switch, a period of nothingness where the body just waits for the next day. But in the wisdom of the internal arts, sleep is a profound state of activity. It is the time when the Qi, the vital life force, should be circulating most freely to repair the damage of the day. However, many of us are doing something just before we lay down that turns this period of healing into a period of extreme danger. We are eating the day and then laying horizontal, expecting the body to manage the burden. When you consume heavy, dense materials, whether they be physical food or emotional stress, right before you surrender to the night, you are creating a dam in your internal river. Imagine a mountain stream that is clear and flowing. Now, imagine throwing a heavy load of silt and stones into that stream and then stopping the current. The water becomes thick, it becomes stagnant, and the life within it begins to struggle. This is exactly what happens in your chest and your abdomen when you go to bed with a full system. The blood becomes heavy, the fire of digestion is forced to work when it should be resting, and the pressure begins to rise. This man who died in his sleep did not die because of a sudden accident. He died because his internal pipes had become so clogged with the dampness of his habits that the heart simply could not push through the resistance anymore. We must understand that the position of the body affects the flow of the spirit. When you are upright, gravity assists the downward movement of energy. But when you lay down, the internal organs shift. If the stomach is full, it pushes against the diaphragm, which in turn puts pressure on the heart. This mechanical pressure is a silent killer. It restricts the space in which the emperor, the heart, must function. Over years, this constant nightly pressure weakens the walls of the vessel. It creates a state of chronic inflammation that the body cannot clear because it is too busy trying to process the unprocessed life you brought into your bed. This that I beg you to stop doing is the habit of late-night consumption and the refusal to clear the mind before sleep. We are a generation that is overfed and under-rested. We fill our bellies with heavy salts and fats, and we fill our minds with the digital fire of screens and news. This creates a state of internal friction. Even while you think you are sleeping, your nervous system is in a state of combat. Your heart rate remains high, your breath remains shallow, and your blood pressure stays at a level that is designed for fighting, not for resting. This is how the silent surge happens in the middle of the night, leading to the tragedies we hear about, but never think will happen to us. To protect your vessel, you must respect the empty gate. The hours before you sleep should be a time of gradual emptying. You empty the stomach, you empty the mind, and you empty the heart of its grievances. This creates the space necessary for the vital force to move. When the gate is empty, the energy can circulate without friction. You wake up feeling light because you did not spend the night in a state of internal war. If you want to see the morning sun for many years to come, you must learn the discipline of the evening fast, a fast of the body, the eyes, and the ego, internal friction. The heart is often called the emperor because it governs the rhythm of the entire kingdom. But even an emperor cannot rule in a state of constant chaos. When we spend our final hours before sleep engaging with digital fire, the blue light of our devices and the constant stream of information, we are injecting a false heat into our system. This heat agitates the Shen, the spirit that resides in the heart. In our ancient understanding, if the spirit is agitated, it cannot sink into the lower centers for rest. It stays hovering in the chest, creating a state of high-frequency vibration that keeps the blood vessels constricted and the heart under tension. This man who did not wake up was likely a victim of this invisible friction. He may have been physically still, but his internal environment was like a stormy sea. The modern world has taught us to ignore our subtle body, but the subtle body is where the heart attack begins. It begins with a thought that is never released, a worry that is chewed on like a bone, and a nervous system that is never given the signal of safety. When you are in fight or flight mode at 2 a.m. because you were scrolling through stressful news at 11 p.m., you are forcing your heart to run a marathon while you are horizontal. This is the definition of a deadly contradiction. We must also talk about the breath of the night. When the body is stressed and the stomach is full, the breath becomes shallow and moves up into the chest. This is emergency breathing. It signals to the brain that there is a threat. In response, the brain releases chemicals that tighten the arteries and thicken the blood. This is a survival mechanism designed for short periods of danger, but when it happens every night for years, it leads to the hardening of the life pathways. The stroke or the heart attack is simply the moment when the pipe finally snaps under the constant, unrelenting pressure of this internal friction. Stop treating your bedroom like a second office or a cinema. It should be a sanctuary of low energy. The lights should be dim, the sound should be minimal, and the conversation should be soft. You are preparing for the most important transition of your day, the return to the source. If you bring the friction of the world into this space, you are inviting the thief into your home. This man's heart failed because it never got a break. It was working overtime every single night until the machinery simply gave out. You must give your emperor the silence he requires to govern your health effectively. I beg you to observe your pre-sleep state. Are your shoulders tight? Is your jaw clenched? Is your mind jumping from one fire to another? If so, you are in the danger zone. You must learn to cool the blood before you lay down. This is done through the mastery of the exhale and the release of the day's weight. If you can learn to be empty before you sleep, you provide your heart with the gift of space. Space is where healing happens. Space is where the pressure drops. Without space, the vessel is just a pressure cooker waiting for the moment of failure. Vital breaths. To reverse the damage and close the door to the night thief, we must return to the mastery of the wind, the breath. The way you breathe in the minutes before you sleep determines the chemistry of your blood for the next 8 hours. Most people are starving their hearts of oxygen because they breathe through their mouths or into their upper chests. This creates a state of acidic blood, which irritates the lining of the heart and the brain. To lower the risk of a sudden event, you must practice the deep descent. This is the breath that starts in the lower abdomen and moves like a slow wave. When you breathe deeply into the belly, you are physically massaging the heart and the internal organs. You are activating the vagus nerve, which is the body's natural brake system. It tells the heart, it is safe now. You can slow down, you can rest. This is the most powerful anti-stroke medicine in existence, and it costs nothing, but it requires the discipline to stop the doing and start the being. If you can spend 10 minutes in the lion's posture, laying on your side with a straight spine, and focus only on the slow, cool air entering your nose, you are clearing the blockages that lead to disaster. We must also address the lion's sleep. In our tradition, the position in which you sleep affects the qi. Laying on your right side is often recommended because it keeps the emperor, the heart, in a superior position, allowing it to pump with less gravitational resistance. It also opens the left nostril, which is associated with the cooling energy of the body. This helps to counteract the heat of the day and the fire of the mind. Small changes in how you place your physical frame can have profound effects on your internal pressure. You are not just a body, you are an energetic structure that must be aligned with the laws of nature. This that leads to death is often the choking of the breath. Sleep apnea and heavy snoring are not just annoyances. They are signs that the upper gate is blocked. This blockage creates a sudden drop in oxygen, which causes the heart to panic and jolt the system with adrenaline. This jolt in the middle of the night is what often triggers the heart attack. To stop this, you must keep the vessel clear. This means maintaining a healthy weight, avoiding damp foods like dairy and sugar before bed, and ensuring that your internal fire is strong enough to keep the pathways open and dry. I want you to realize that every breath you take is a choice. You can choose a breath that creates life or a breath that creates friction. As you lay down tonight, make the choice to be a master of your wind. Clear the throat, soften the belly, and let the breath be so quiet that even a feather placed under your nose would not move. This subtle breath is the sign of a system that is in total harmony. It is the breath of a person who will wake up refreshed, vibrant, and clear. Do not let the thief take your breath away because you were too busy to notice how you were breathing. Final clarity: the man who died in his sleep is a mirror for all of us. He represents the unconscious way we live, reacting to the world, consuming without thought, and ignoring the subtle signals of our own vessel. But his tragedy can be your transformation. The truth is that death is not a sudden event. It is the final result of 1,000 small choices. If you choose to be aware, if you choose to be disciplined, and if you choose to be peaceful, you are building a fortress of health that no night thief can breach. True health is not found in a pill or a machine. It is found in the stillness of your own center. When you reach a state of internal mastery, you no longer fear the night. You see sleep as a sacred return, a time to recharge your vital battery and to commune with the silence. You realize that the heart is not just a pump, but a temple. You do not bring trash into your temple. You do not bring fire into your temple. You keep it clean, cool, and quiet. This clarity is the ultimate protection. It allows you to move through life with a sense of unshakable peace. You know that your vessel is strong because you have tended to it with the love and discipline of a master gardener. I beg you to stop the madness of the modern evening, stop the heavy eating, stop the digital addiction, and stop the mental looping of worries. Instead, embrace the empty gate, embrace the cool breath, embrace the lion's sleep. These are the ancient secrets to a long and vibrant life. They are simple, but they are not easy. They require you to take back the reins of your own life from the hands of habit. But the reward is the most precious thing you own: your breath, your heart, and your presence in this beautiful world. As you close your eyes tonight, let go of the day. Let it dissolve into the darkness. You are not your job, you are not your worries, and you are not your past. You are a living expression of the universal life force. Trust in that force. Let it circulate through you, healing the cracks and clearing the clouds. When you wake up, do so with a heart that is light and a mind that is clear. You have been given another day to practice, another day to love, and another day to breathe. Do not waste it. Be the master of your vessel, and the night thief will have no door to enter. True peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of stillness in the middle of it. When your heart is at rest, your entire world is at rest. The pressure drops, the friction vanishes, and the vital flame burns with a steady golden light. This is the health that is your birthright. Claim it through your discipline, claim it through your awareness, and most importantly, claim it through your silence. May you find the peace that passes all understanding, and may your heart beat with the rhythm of the universe for many years to come. Be honest. Did this speak to you too? Which part of your evening ritual do you know deep down is putting your heart at risk? YouTube comment: this made me put my phone down and just breathe. I never realized I was fighting my way through sleep. Be honest, how many of us are actually peaceful before we close our eyes? This was the wake-up call I didn't know I needed. Which part made you pause?